Actually, we'll be using the purple books today. We don't need the red ones, sorry. Sorry. I believe, let me just see one of the just wait. It all depends on the English translation. Oh no, the purple one's okay. No, yeah. We're going to be using the purple one. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. My bad. Okay. Oop. So good morning, everyone. Good morning to the people on Zoom as well. Welcome to our regular Sunday service for March 30th. It was, for those of you who were here yesterday, it was a very busy day as we held the first inaugural Nippon Fair. For those of you who weren't in town or didn't make it, it was quite the event. We must have had, very easily over 1,500 people came out for this event. We had artisan displays and little booths in the multi-purpose room, and we had food vendor trucks, Japanese food vendor trucks in the parking lot, and entertainment right in front of Wisteria. But overall, it was quite the event. So some of us are a little bit tired today because of that. I was surprised at the number of people that we had coming into our Hondo wanting to learn more about Buddhism. And I'll talk a little bit about that during my Dharma talk. But welcome everyone, and we'll begin this morning's service with a moment of silent meditation, followed by the recitation of the name of the Buddha or the Onenbutsu. Next, we're going to read together. We're going to read together the passage, Our Pledge, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Some of you have it in front of you. Others may. I don't know if there was enough copies of it for everyone. So it's also on the screen. In just a second, it should come up. There we go. Okay. And for the people at home, you can read it on the screen. Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I shall carefully share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall be open-minded and act accordingly, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I shall share in the joy and sadness of others. just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life we have received, I shall live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who continues to emancipate all. Namo Amida Butsu. Next, we'll have the sutra chanting, and today we'll be chanting the Junirai, which on your purple seiten is on page 63. And we'll be using the purple seiten, so on page 63 of the purple seiten. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Again, it's also on the screen for those who wish to see it on the screen. Excuse me for a second. So please join me in reading the English translation, which you'll find on page What, 70 is it?
71.
71. Page 70. Page 70. Okay. And I'll put it on the screen. The 12 Adorations, Junirai translation. Before Amida Buddha, whom heavenly beings worship, I humble myself in deepest reverence. In his wondrous land of bliss, surrounded is he by countless bodhisattvas. His golden form shines forth pure like the king of Mount Sumeru. His practice of truth is steadfast like an elephant's pace. His eyes radiate like pure blue lotus blossoms. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. His countenance is perfectly pure and round like the full moon. His majestic light shines like 1,000 suns and moons. His voice is like a heavenly drum, yet like a heavenly bird, kokila. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. Avalokitesvara wears upon his crown the image of Amida adorned with many precious jewels. He subdues the arrogance of demons and heretics. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. Incomparable, vast, and pure his virtues are, clearly extending like vast open space. He acts freely, benefiting all. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. Bodhisattvas from the 10 quarters and countless Maras, demons, always venerate him. He dwells with vow power for the sake of all beings. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. In the golden treasure pond where the lotus flowers bloom, established with goodness is a wondrous throne, where reigns the Lord like the king of the mount. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. From the 10 quarters, bodhisattvas come, revealing wondrous powers, they attain blissful state. Honoring his face, they offer eternal homage. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. All things are transient without self, like the moon on water, lightning, shadow, or the dew. The Dharma cannot be expressed by words, the Buddha proclaimed. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. No words of evil are in his land, no fear of evildoers, no evil paths. With sincere heart, all beings worship him. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. His land of infinite expediencies is without degenerate things or wicked beings. Upon rebirth, non-retrogressive bodhi does one attain. Thus I prostrate myself before Amida Buddha. Thus have I praised the virtues of Amida. Boundless are they like the water of the sea. Upon receiving these pure and good qualities, may all beings be reborn in his land. Namo Amidabus, Namo Amidabus, Namo Amidabus,
Namo Amidabus,
Namo
Amidabus, Namo Amidabus.
Once again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our regular morning service. Oh yeah, so as I mentioned yesterday, we had this Nippon Fair, and Sam was helping me out here in the Hondo a bit, and so many people coming in to ask questions, and some of the questions kind of threw me for a loop in a bit. One person asked, "Why is the Buddha gold?" I wasn't expecting that. Or, "Why is his hair blue?" So the gold it does say, according to the sutras, that those that enter the Pure Land all have the same hue, the golden hue. And so I think that's where it came from. And as far as his hair being blue, in the descriptions of the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, it was said that he came from an Aryan race. And they describe his hair as So we would call it like jet black, but it's almost like a navy bluish, the little bluish tinge to it. But I think the artist's rendition on this, whoever made this statue, went a little bit on the blue side, but it'd be more like almost like a jet black. But that's how it ends up as such. But nonetheless, you know, I explained the altar and I explained the many different offerings. And the offerings in Japanese, actually, they use the word osonai, osonai. Okay? And when you look it up in the dictionary, osonai in the Japanese dictionary, it's very interesting because it comes up with the terminology. It says, making offerings to the dead. Okay, so people often think, yeah, that's what it is we're making offerings to the dead. But when you actually look at that word osonai, it comes originally from China. And in China, what they did, they translated a Sanskrit word called puja, puja. And puja, actually, when you look up that word, it's got a completely different meaning behind it. And it actually means paying respect to one who has, one you are honoring, paying respect to one you are honoring. So it's not necessarily about the dead or anything, okay? And in fact, in the Buddhist tradition, so we call it the three treasures, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And yesterday I was explaining to so many people about our incense burner and how the three legs stand for the three treasures of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And then these offerings are basically offerings of respect and appreciation to these. And originally they had 4 different kinds of offerings you can make. You can make offerings of clothing or cloth, offerings of food, offerings of a place to stay, and offerings of medicine. Okay, these were the 4 that they were, when the Buddha was alive, that people would give offerings of. And then over the many centuries, that sort of developed to where people now offer rice. Well, that's food too. So rice, fruit is a common offering in our temples. But what's interesting is that we think that this offering is only for the living. But in the passage in the larger sutra, or is it the Amida Sutra? Which one is this from? Oh no, this comes in the Amida Sutra. So in the Amida Sutra, which we chant on Shotsuki services, actually, can't remember if we have the English translation in here. I thought we did. Yeah, we do. Okay. And if you open up your books to page, I believe it's around 111. I'm just looking for that right passage. 110 or 111. Here we go. Okay, right in the second paragraph of page 111 of your purple sutras, it says, again, Shariputra, in the Buddha land, heavenly music is played at all times. Gold is spread on the ground, and 6 times each day and night it showers Madharava blossoms. Usually in the serene morning, all those who live in that who live there, fill their plates with those wonderful blossoms, make offerings to 100,000 kodis of Buddhas of other regions, and at the feast time, they return to their own land and have their feast and stroll. So this is describing what we call the Pure Land of Amida Buddha. And traditionally, according to our Pure Land schools, it says that when we pass from this world, we return to Amida's Pure Land, which then implies that those who have passed before us continue to make offerings. Because every morning it says, they get up and they bring these Madarava flower blossoms. Durgesh might be more familiar with what kind of blossoms these are. They're probably more native to India than here. Do you know what these flowers are, Durgesh? No, you don't. Okay. Okay. But every morning they gather up these flowers and they take it to countless Buddha lands to make offerings. And it's said one of the powers when we enter the Pure Land that we have is, in Japanese they call it Jinsu Riki, but that means instantaneous transportation. Okay, so it's almost like the sci-fi movies where they teleport to another place instantaneously, and they make these offerings, these floral offerings, and then they return by the time breakfast is served. So you can imagine that. So the offerings are not just made for us, to those who have passed away, but even after we pass away, we continue to make offerings. Okay. So what it's basically pointing out, though, is that it is an act of respect, an act of appreciation. And when we come into the temple, so in explaining the incense burner, I tell people, one of the aspects of the incense burner is that the incense burns on the ashes of all the incense that's burned before. And that's a reminder to us that my life is based on all the life that has gone before me. So it's an act of gratitude as well, to say, I am appreciative that my life is here today, at this moment, based on all that has gone before me. So the offerings are also an expression of that appreciation. I may have told you this before, but in the year 2000, there was a group of us, including Roy and Yutoko. Oh, by the way, welcome home, Roy and Yutoko. I could have really used, or would have been helpful to have Roy here yesterday, Roy Sensei here yesterday. He could have given the talk to half the people as well. But anyways, in the year 2000, when we went on our pilgrimage to India, one of the more memorable places is a place called Vulture's Peak, in which the Buddha spent a number of years giving talks. And the custom or the culture around this Vulture Peaks, Buddhists from around the world go there on a pilgrimage. There's a pilgrimage of the places where Buddha had been at, the historical Buddha. And we went in year 2000, and Roy Sensei had led three tours to India. I only participated in the one in 2000. But at Vulture's Peak, what you do is you stay by in a nearby lodging, and you're supposed to get up before dawn. And you climb this little hill to the top so that you arrive just as the sun breaks in the morning, and you have a morning service there. And that's a kind of a cultural thing that people do now. And so when we were there, unfortunately, it was really foggy the morning so we couldn't see the sun or anything like that. But when you get up to the top, there's a little platform, and where you can hold a service. And it's manned by, so there's a gentleman who's there to sort of man it, and he has, funny thing is that he has a little offertory plate there. And when we got up there, we were surprised because we were met by Ben Franklin. Do you know what that means? So there was a $100 US bill sitting on this offertory plate. And I think this man is trying to play, because we were the very first people arriving in the morning, right? So I'm sure it was to play on our psyche. If we see $100 US bill, he kept on saying puja, 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 offerings, offerings, right? So, but basically, I mean, that's the funny story, but the reality is we do make offerings out of appreciation. And so when we see the osonai, and conversely, Some of the offerings in the altar are also to help us. As I was explaining when people came yesterday, when we come to the temple, it's not just a visual thing. Visual is very important as well. And so some of the things, like the flowers, etc., they help us calm ourselves. The aroma from the incense, it helps us calm ourselves. It helps us ground ourselves, which is very important in our lives. So listening to the Dharma is to help us ground ourselves in our busy lives. It's very easy to lose balance. And so by listening to the Dharma, receiving the Dharma, we ground ourselves. And out of gratitude, we make the offerings to say thank you, and with our hands put together in Gassho. So I just wanted to share that with you today as my Dharma message. For all those people that came yesterday, I explained this over and over and over again. So I thought I'd share that little experience with you today. So I'd like to close my Dharma message with the recitation of the Nembutsu. So if I can actually please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo. And we will close off this morning's service with the singing of the Shinshu Shuka, which you'll find on page 306 of your Seiten. And I'm just going to bring it up on the screen. Just bring it up, please. So this will bring to a close our regular morning service. Thank you for coming out. For those of you who are on the board, please, if you can make the effort to be here next Sunday, we will have the installation of the board next week with the executives, etc. So if you're able to come next week, which will be our Shotsuki monthly memorial service for April, we will have the installation of the board members at that time as well. Other than that, so next week is our Shotsuki memorial service. We are also in April, the second week, we'll be holding our Hanamatsuri service. We do not have a guest for this year's Hanamatsuri, so Roy Sensei and I will be looking after the service. And then in the last or fourth weekend in April, we will be having the JSBTC annual general meeting, which will be hosted in Toronto. And I will be going there. Would you be able to do this? Yeah. So we will have this Sunday service here. Will be conducted by Roy Sensei during that weekend. Okay. So are there any other announcements? I do have one very sad announcement. Is that our Odori Sensei, Yoko Matsuno Sensei, passed away just a few days ago now. So we're still in the early stage, I guess, planning on what's going to happen. But that's some unfortunate news. Other than that, I don't believe there's anything else. So, okay, so thank you and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And thank you to those who joined by Zoom. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sensei.